I've been working the night shift at a gas station off Highway 17 for almost 2 years. It's the kind of place you only find when you're lost. One flickering neon sign, 2 rusty pumps, and miles of empty road in every direction. Most nights are dead quiet. A few truckers roll through, a couple of locals grab cigarettes, and then it's just me, the buzzing soda machine, and the endless dark pressing against the windows. People think it's boring, but boring is safe, and I'd take boring over what started happening a few months ago. The first night I noticed it was late October. The clock on the counter read 2:13 a.m. I remember because I'd just finished restocking the cooler. Across the 2-lane highway, parked in the gravel pull-off, sat a black SUV. No headlights, no interior lights, just there. I thought maybe someone broke down. I waited for a driver to step out, maybe wave for help. Nothing. 5 minutes later, a semi roared past, and for a split second, its headlights lit the pull-off. Empty. The SUV was gone. I told myself I imagined it. But the next night, same time, 2:13 a.m., there it was again. It kept happening. Always the same hour. Always across the road, always vanishing the second I looked away. I started leaving the station lights off so I could watch without reflection. The SUV never moved. But one night, after a particularly long stare, I swore I saw a shadow leaning against the driver's door. That was the first time I locked the doors before 2 a.m. The following week, I stepped outside for a smoke. The SUV wasn't there yet, but I heard crunching gravel behind the pumps. Footprints, fresh and wet, as if someone had just walked through rain, except it hadn't rained in days. They led from the pull-off across the road, straight toward the station door, and then stopped at the threshold. No one had opened it. I would have heard the chime, and yet the prints were there, bare feet, not shoes, each one perfectly formed. A few nights later, the store phone rang. Nobody calls the station that late. When I picked up, I didn't hear a voice, just static like someone breathing through water. Then a man's whisper cut through. "Look outside." I dropped the phone and ran to the window. The SUV sat directly across the street, closer than ever. Its headlights flashed once. The pumps clicked off. The soda machine went silent. Even the buzzing fluorescent lights died, leaving me in total darkness except for the faint glow of the SUV's taillights. I don't know why I went outside. Maybe I was tired of feeling hunted. Maybe I needed proof I wasn't losing my mind. The night air was icy, but the road was completely still. Each step across the asphalt felt like walking into a tunnel of nothing. The SUV's engine was off. The windows were tinted black. When I got close enough to touch the driver's side door, my breath fogged the glass and something inside exhaled back. A pale hand pressed against the window from the inside. It was my own. Not a reflection. My hand matching every movement like a mirror with a heartbeat. Then the door handle twitched. I stumbled backward. The door creaked open an inch, but no one emerged. Instead, a single whisper drifted out, perfectly clear in the freezing air. "Your shift is over." Headlights flared blinding white. I shielded my eyes, and when the light faded, the SUV was gone. No engine noise, no tire marks, just empty gravel and the sound of my own ragged breathing. When I turned back toward the station, every light inside flicked on at once. The pumps restarted. The soda machine hummed, and taped to the glass door was a single sheet of receipt paper. "Next time, don't be late." I still work there. Every night I consider quitting, but something keeps me coming back. Because no matter how early I arrive, the clock always strikes 2:13 a.m., and the black SUV is waiting. The rain had been falling for hours by the time Mark Rivers, a traveling salesman, spotted the flickering neon sign of a roadside motel. Vacancy glowed faint red through the downpour, a promise of warmth and dry clothes. He pulled into the lot, the gravel crunching under his tires. The place looked old. The sign read Desert Palms Motel, though no palms stood anywhere nearby. A single lamp above the office door buzzed weakly, casting more shadow than light. Inside the small lobby sat an elderly man in a tan cardigan, nose buried in a yellowed ledger. His smile was polite but thin. "Rough night, huh?" the man said, handing Mark an old-fashioned brass key. Room 6, around back. The hallway smelled faintly of damp carpet and cigarettes. The wallpaper peeled like dry skin, and the hum of a distant ice machine echoed down the corridor. Mark found room 6, turned the key, and stepped inside. The air was colder than outside, smelling faintly of mildew. The decor was stuck in the 1970s. Brown curtains, a rotary phone on the nightstand, and an ancient TV with rabbit ear antennas. He tossed his bag on the bed and went to close the curtains. That's when he noticed something wrong. The window didn't show the parking lot. Instead, it looked out onto dense pine woods, black and swaying in the storm. But when he'd parked, there hadn't been a single tree for miles. Mark's just flat desert highway. He stepped back, nearly tripping over his own, thinking maybe the storm was playing tricks on him. Creaked open. But the smell of damp hallway light drifted out through the tiny crack by an endless stretch of darkness. He grabbed the phone to call the front desk, no buzzing, but the rotary dial didn't move. Only the soft squelch of wet carpet wasn't even somewhere far down the corridor. That's when the TV clicked on by itself. Mark called, his voice trembling across the screen. From the TV, the static shifted, came a voice, different voice now, the white deeper, noise. Urgent. I don't. Room 6 doesn't exist. Here. The power snapped off. Total darkness swallowed the room. Mark's breath came fast, chest tight. He fumbled for the door handle, yanking it open, and stepped into trees. The hallway was gone. In its place stood the black forest he'd seen through the window. Rain pattered on leaves, but no drops touched him. The air was cold and heavy, thick with pine and rot. Behind him, the motel door slammed shut. He spun back. The door was gone. Only trees. Somewhere in the woods, a bell rang. Slow, metallic, like the ding of a service counter. Mark turned toward the sound, desperate for any sign of civilization. But each step he took, the bell sounded farther away. The static returned, faint but everywhere, inside his head, in the air, in the ground. And with it, a whisper. "You checked in. You can't check out." Mark broke into a run, branches clawing at his jacket. But no matter which direction he turned, the trees stayed the same. Identical. Endless. He finally stopped, chest heaving, and looked down. His own footprints in the mud were leading back to room 6. The door now stood in the middle of the forest. Its brass number gleamed faintly in the dark. He stepped closer. From the other side came a soft knock. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Mark's hand trembled as he reached for the knob. The door opened from the inside. Standing there was the old motel clerk. Same cardigan, same thin smile. "Forgot to sign the ledger," the man said softly. "Guests have to stay in until the book is complete." Mark's breath caught. Behind the clerk, the room was empty except for a single chair and a ledger sitting open on the seat. His name was already written in perfect cursive. The clerk stepped aside, gesturing inside. "Come on," he whispered, "it's policy." Mark turned to run, but the forest spun, twisting into streaks of black and red. When he opened his eyes, he was lying on the motel bed. The clock read 6 a.m. Sunlight leaked through the curtains. Relief washed over him until he looked out the window. The parking lot was gone. Only trees. And on the nightstand, the ledger sat open. Under his name, a fresh line had already been written. "Next guest, you."